Former President Donald Trump has declared that inflation has been defeated, even as the Federal Reserve begins cutting interest rates for the first time this year. Speaking recently at the United Nations General Assembly and in domestic appearances, Trump pointed to lower mortgage rates and a slowdown in grocery price increases as proof that the economy has turned a corner. Grocery prices are down, mortgage rates are down, and inflation has been defeated, he said. The statement comes as the Fed has started to ease monetary policy after 2 years of aggressive rate hikes, a move that some interpret as a sign of economic stability returning. However, economists and analysts caution that Trump's declaration is premature. Inflation has indeed dropped significantly from its pandemic-year peak of around 9%, but it remains above the Federal Reserve's target. Consumer prices rose 2.9% in August compared with a year earlier, a slight uptick from 2.6% the month before. Prices for essentials such as food, housing, and energy continue to weigh on households. Many Americans report that despite slowing inflation, everyday costs still feel unmanageable. For consumers, prices that rose sharply during 2021 and 2022 have not returned to pre-pandemic levels. They've simply stopped climbing as fast. Economists point out that several factors continue to keep prices high. Tariffs introduced under the Trump administration on imported goods such as furniture, appliances, and electronics remain in place, lifting costs for businesses and consumers alike. Meanwhile, wage growth and strong demand in some sectors continue to push up service prices. While inflation has moderated, so-called core inflation, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, has proven stubborn. Analysts say that declaring victory too early risks undermining confidence in policymakers if inflation resurges. At the Federal Reserve, officials are navigating a delicate balancing act. In mid-September, the Fed cut its benchmark interest rate by 0.25 percentage point, the first reduction in over a year. The decision reflected concerns that high borrowing costs were starting to slow hiring and weaken the labor market. But minutes from that meeting showed division among Fed officials. Some supported the cut as a precaution to support growth, while others warned that loosening policy too soon could reignite inflationary pressures. Kansas City Fed President Jeff Schmid said rates were appropriately calibrated and urged caution before moving further, while St. Louis Fed President Alberto Musalem noted that inflation remains well above target and argued that rate cuts should proceed slowly. The central bank's credibility is at stake. If inflation proves more persistent than expected, critics say the Fed may have to reverse its cuts, potentially shaking confidence in its judgment. Economists such as Karen Dinan of the Peterson Institute warned that as memories of the inflation surge linger, consumer expectations could become harder to anchor. Shoppers and businesses who believe prices will keep rising may act in ways that make that prediction self-fulfilling, leading to another round of price hikes. Politically, Trump's comments highlight the tension between economic narratives and lived experience. Declaring inflation defeated offers a powerful campaign message, especially with the presidential race intensifying. But it also raises expectations. If Americans continue to feel squeezed at the checkout counter, the claim could backfire, exposing the gap between political rhetoric and household reality. Looking ahead, economists are watching several indicators to gauge whether inflation will keep cooling or rebound. The next round of consumer price data, due later this month, will be closely scrutinized for signs of renewed upward pressure. Fed officials will also face scrutiny over whether they commit to further rate cuts or hold steady to assess the data. Wage growth, rent trends, commodity prices will all play crucial roles in determining the direction of inflation in the months ahead. For now, the picture remains mixed. Inflation has certainly come down from its worst levels, but many families still struggle with the lingering effects of high prices. While Trump's assertion of victory over inflation resonates politically, economists say the battle is not yet over, and the Fed's next moves will determine whether the economy truly enters a new era of stability or faces another round of turbulence.